First two games we had great atmospheres. I really want to thank the Texas fans for coming out and supporting this team, and it was so much fun in Houston last week with 70+ thousand for Rice, and then coming back for over 100,000 this week was a lot of fun. So proud of the Texas fans. It's a great atmosphere for our kids. In fact, it was loud. The Red McComb's north end has changed everything with the dynamics in that stadium, because now you really can't hear. I thought we played much better as a team against Wyoming than we did Rice. We had a lot more spirit on the sideline, and I thought that created spirit in the crowd. It's very hot, and I was proud that our team's in great shape, and the guys handled the heat very well. We had too many penalties during the ball game. There's no doubt about that, but most of them were aggressive penalties. We want our team to be tough, and there's a fine line between being a tough team and a physical team and not crossing that line. So most of the time the better teams have more penalties, especially early in the season. So we need to have fewer penalties, but we still want to be tough. We were too inconsistent because of the penalties and lack of forced turnovers. We couldn't get off the field defensively. And we need to stay on the field offensively. We weren't consistent enough to finish drives at the end when we needed to. Need to start faster. We've only scored 3 points in the first quarter in the first two games. We scored 41 points in the second quarter, so we got to try to figure out, and it's a team dynamic, not just an offensive dynamic, how to force some turnovers, force better field position, and score in that opening drive. And we did get a field goal the opening drive this time, but we're not scoring touchdowns in the first quarter. When you see the depth chart today, you see either or. That simply means that the coordinators do not have to know who's in the game with an either or. It doesn't mean that the or might be starting, but it means we do not have to tell Greg or Will so-and-so is in the game, because it changes the game plan. Defensively, we held them to 7 points. We shut down their running game. We want to hold them to 3.3 yards or less. We held them to 1.55. They had 20 attempts for 31 yards. We wanted to stop their pass for less than 5 yards per attempt, and we did not. They had 5.11. They had 44 attempts for 225 yards. So we need to do a better job in that area. We didn't force turnovers, but we forced 3 fourth-down stops, which is like a turnover for us. But we still need to strip some more balls, get some fumbles, and try to get some interceptions. We do not want to give up any big plays. We gave up a pass of 34 yards and a pass of 29 yards. So we have to stop those two explosive plays. In the red zone, they scored 1 out of 3 times down there, so we actually won with 66% success rate. Third downs, we won. They were 3 out of 15, so we had 12 wins there for 80%. First down, we won. We had 17 successful first downs to their 6, so we were 74%. We had 7 missed tackles for 75 yards, and that's too many, and most of them on their quarterback. Austin Carter Samuels did a good job of being elusive. We had 5 3-and-outs, 3 sacks, 19 hits on the quarterback, and 11 pressures. Defensive player of the game was Sam Acho. The hard hat award on defense goes to Blake Gideon, and it was not for his targeting penalty, it was for his tackle. After that, for you who will question. Ball hawks, there were 4 of them. Shockey Brown, Curtis Brown, Jackson Jeffcoat, and Eddie Jones, all on the 4th down stops. Offensively, we've had no turnovers in the first 2 games. We're leading the nation in lack of turnovers. We've just had 1 with a fumble punt. Explosive plays, we had 8, 3 runs and 5 passes. We were successful on first down 64% of the time, which is the best we've done in a long time. Third downs, we were 50%, which is really good. We're 7 out of 14. We were 3 of 8 at halftime, so it got much better the second half. Red zone, we scored 100% of the time, 3 out of 3 in the red zone. We have not given up a sack. In fact, we're one of only 9 teams in the country that has not given up a sack for the first 2 games. We scored the last 5 minutes of the half and the first 5 minutes of the second half, which is what you need to do to be successful. We only had 1 negative run during the game, and our run consistency was 61%, which again is very high. Offensive player of the game is Mike Davis. Boss hog, the best offensive lineman, was David Snow. Big hit was Fozzie Whitaker. Biggest contributor was Garrett Gilbert. We're talking to our guys about yards after contact, which is very, very important when you touch the ball. Fozzie had 45 yards after contact. Cody had 31. Trey had 20. Mike Davis had 61. James Kirkendall 18, Malcolm Williams 12, and Marquise Goodwin 10. So we're really pushing the guys to do a better job after contact. Well, there's always one. There's always one. Players we'd kick out of the room and make them leave. I don't guess we can do that with Sean. Special teams, our kickoff coverage was good. We had 2 tackles inside the 20, 3 touchbacks, and their average starting yard line was the 22-yard line. Punt block and return, we averaged 16.5 yards on our punt return, so it was very good. Curtis Brown had a 32-yard return, and Aaron Williams had an 18-yard return. Field goals and extra points were very good. We were 4 out of 4 on extra points and 2 field goals, one of 36 and one of 45 yards for 10 points. Punt was just okay. We're very, very poor as we tried to down them inside the 20. Neither one of those punts were successful, so we've got to do a better job in our rocket return, and I thought our kickoff returns were just very average. I didn't think they were what we needed to be. Special teams player of the game was Justin Tucker. We just played the 12 true freshmen that we played last week. We didn't play another one, and that is tied for the 4th most freshmen to play in the country. Texas Tech's a fun challenge for us. We've been out there 6 times since we've been here, and we're 3-3. We have won 2 out of the last 3 times. We've beaten them all 6 times here, so we're 9-3 overall, but it's been a tough place for Texas to play. Since '94, Texas is 9-9 in Lubbock. They're 2-0, and they're doing really well under new coach Tommy Tuberville, who's got a great track record, and he's a tremendous coach. We're 1 out of 9 teams, as we said earlier, without a sack, and they're tied for 3rd in the country with 9 sacks. So it'll be a great matchup to see our offensive line trying to protect against their sack bunch. They're more like the Alabama defense this year. They're very multiple. Where last year they sat there and played pretty much base defense. But since Coach Willis came from Alabama, we figure we'll see a game plan very similar to the one in the national championship. A lot of blitzing, a lot of movement. They're 42+% blitz, or 46, I think, percent blitz in the first 2 ball games. They've gotten off to fast starts, and we have not. The UCLA game next week will be a 6-day pick. So for you who are asking about times, we will probably not have it till next Sunday or Monday. The national TV game this week will be ABC and ESPN2 that'll cover the country. It'll be Ron Franklin and Ed Cunningham, but everybody in the country will have a chance to see it on one of those 2 networks. We're 10-2 in Big 12 openers. 2 of those wins have been against Tech. We're 49-6 against teams in the state of Texas since 1998. We've won 32 of our last 35 games in August and September. We're 47-9 on the road. We are 31 out of the last 35 in Big 12 games on the road. So we're excited about the challenge of going to Lubbock.
Coach, everybody knows what happened 2 years ago. How do you take that negative and make it into a positive in your preparation this week?
What you do is you take every game and do your best to prepare for it and try to win it. Most of these kids, or half these kids, were sophomores and juniors and seniors in high school. I guess juniors and seniors in high school when that one came up, so they probably watched it on TV, but they haven't been out there yet. So I think what you do is you show them the stats, show them they lined up and whipped us, they out-coached us, and other than that, you go on and try to get your team ready to play.
What is it about playing in Lubbock? Because it's happened to Coach Roll, Coach Akers, Coach Mack, Coach McQueen. It's always been a tough place to play for Texas.
Anytime you play on the road, it's tough. We've had tough times at Kansas State. We've had some tough games at Oklahoma State. Colorado's always upset some people on the road, so it's much more comfortable for people to play at home than it is on the road.
Mack, after Mike got there and established what he did, I would imagine that team, you knew exactly what you were going to get from their offense without even thinking about it. How different is it this year in preparation for Tommy Tuberville?
It's not much different. They're rushing for about 112 yards. They're throwing it for 300 and something, and they're very good on offense. They have not thrown an interception, which is really unusual. They've only had a few fumbles that they've lost. So, but they're still lining up in fact, they're a quicker tempo now than they were with Mike. Still a similar offense, a lot of similar plays, but there are some different type plays. But Taylor Potts is very accurate, and he's doing a great job. No, we do not. What you do is you prepare for the starter and you adjust if something happens and somebody else comes in.
Mack, what happened to Blake 2 years ago dropping out the last play? He could have gone a lot of different directions without it. And how impressed were you
Blake's tough, he's smart. His dad being the coach at Leander and his mom works at the school. He's got a tremendous character, and he took it as a motivator to make sure that he never had anything else like that happen to him again. And I'd even forgotten it. I mean, that's what you do. You move forward, and he is playing great. He had his tough hits the other night. In fact, I felt sorry for him when he had the head-to-head call, targeting call, because he was going at the chest, and as the ball was coming, the receiver went down, and that's a very tough adjustment for a player to make, that the guy goes down and Blake hits him in the head. So, but Blake's playing really well for us.
Coach, do you guys still talk about the 60-minute mentality, and that was something that was gained from the game that was there the last time?
It is. We talk about it. In fact, we were going to tell the kids this tomorrow in our meeting. We're 27-5 with games 4 points or less, and we are 19-4 in games that are decided by 3 points or less. So we've won most of those games, and that's one of the few ones that we didn't win, and it was costly. But you know, we didn't play as well as we should have offensively early in the ball game, and we didn't stop them on the last drive, and give Tech credit for that. In fact, the 3 games we've lost out there have all been less than a touchdown, and have all been decided, I think, in the last minute.
How validating, though, was it to see them respond to that last year and take that idea and really execute?
It's really been good for our guys. They believe they're going to win every game. They believe they're going to win in the end. They're excited about this challenge. The ones that were out there 2 years ago will remember it. The rest of them have not lost out there because we've won 2 out of the last 3. So I think that the memory will be that we were #1 in the country and didn't finish the game well. I think that's what they'll remember. And I thought they were more physical than we were, and just did a better job overall with their approach than we did in that game.
Do you expect Mike Davis to be that kind of playmaker sometimes when freshmen make several big plays? I know you guys are worried that people are ready to put a statue up, but is that what you were kind of expecting out of him?
You never know with a receiver how many times he can get the ball. You can try to script it to him some, but you can't script it downfield. You can script it behind the line of scrimmage, but they can double team you and take you away. And Mike is a guy that we had seen make some dramatic catches and some really good runs in practice, but I'm not sure we've seen anything in practice that was like he did on Saturday night. I was really proud of him, and now as a freshman he's got to learn to be consistent. That's the hardest thing. If you start believing all the things people are going to say about you, usually people either it's too high or too low. If you lose a game, everybody says there was nothing good, which is not true. If you win a game, everything was great, and it's not true. And the same with a receiver. So Mike's got some things he needs to fix, but he's obviously a talent with the ball in his hands. And he's very confident, and that's unusual for a freshman. And we were proud to see Darius White do the same. The replay was really close in the end zone.
Coach, I know you and Coach Coverville took the Middle East trip together. He was out of coaching at the time, but did you learn anything new about him or any kind of something?
Yeah, the 9 days, all I did is ask him about, if you get a new job, what kind of offense you're going to run, what will you run on 3rd down, how will you fake punts, how will you fake kicks, and I've got all my notes ready now. So now Tommy is one of the greats when it comes to giving back. He made that trip twice, and he cared about the troops. In fact, he made it when he wasn't coaching, because he just left Auburn, and that's a great credit to him. And he told us all before the trip that it was nice and easy, and about halfway through, none of us would speak to him, because we said, you lied to us, and he said, well, you wouldn't have come if I'd have told you the truth. So but he's done a great job wherever he's coached. He won at Ole Miss, he won at Auburn, and he'll win at Tech.
Ozzy's named the starter. Do you have to worry at all about changing them out in their confidence, or do you think it makes them more competitive?
No, we like competition, and we're lucky that it really doesn't matter who starts, and we just want somebody to step up. And what we're going to do is we don't have the one guy. We haven't had the one guy since Jamal left, and what we'll do is keep the hot hand in the game.
A question out of left field for ESPN. They want to know, how should Virginia Tech's loss to James Madison affect Boise State's national championship?
I think we have to wait till the end. You know, I would like for the BCS to explain to all of us about strength of schedule. I get confused with it. I really do, and I can't understand it. And we say it's really prominent, but I don't see it all the time. So I think we wait till the end, and and see what strength of schedule means. We played Rice and beat them a couple of years ago. They won 10 games, and we didn't seem to get much credit for it. So I think that that's one area that I would like to see us scrutinize the BCS a little bit more and make sure all of us and all of you understood better, because why play really tough games out of conference if you're not going to really gain from them, because they're really detrimental if you lose. You saw what it did to Virginia Tech. The one loss to Boise probably beat them twice.
When Tuberville got to Tech, he said he was going to try to keep some of the offense the same and still do what he does. Have you seen that just with what you've seen out of the games?
We have. He's got a lot of the same concepts in the passing game, but at the same time, it's a quicker tempo. He brought the offensive coordinator in from Troy, and he's still trying to run the ball more than Mike did at times. You know, Mike could go a whole game not run it, not even think about it. So, but they've gone for 6 fourth downs and made 2. So I think Tommy's still being really aggressive.
Matt, can you look at Tech this year compared to Ole Miss and Auburn in the past and say that's a Tommy Tuberville style of team?
You really can't, because the defense has got more of an Alabama personality to it right now with Coach Willis coming from Alabama, and the offense is totally opposite from anything Tommy's ever done. He's always been a line-up in the eye and power running game and knock you off, so I'm sure this is different for him, seeing 40, 50 passes a game.
Coach, after the Wyoming game, you said you guys would have to play better to win this week. Do you still feel that way?
I do. I think we want to get more explosive plays, and we've got to force more turnovers on defense. And I looked at the penalties. I think we've had 13 penalties, and they've had 11. So both of us are going to be coaching penalties this week.
Coach, there was a lot of talk last week about where this offense is going to be. You and Coach Davis both mentioned it. From what we saw in Game 2, how close is it to where you guys want it to be?
It's closer. That was more the personality and the balance we wanted the other night. We were in the shotgun more than we were in the up under the center, but we also feel like that we're doing a better job running the same plays from the shotgun. The counter play with Fozzie and the counter play with Cody, 2 of the explosive runs were both shotgun runs that were counters. So we feel like we're making some new things happen now. We got some things we've been holding for conference, but we also feel like that we've made the progress that we need to make. Now we just got to get better. We got to finish things. I think that we're seeing chances and we're seeing things that are close, but we got to get better to it.
Coach, was it at all a plan to get all 3 running backs to start before practice?
No, it really wasn't. But we planned on playing all 3 of them a lot. And Cody was really the guy that was going to carry the load till he sprained his ankle in the opener. So that gave Fozzie and Trey a chance to step up, and they both have done that in their own way. So it's probably really, really good for us that we've got 3 guys now that can play. And we're excited about that, because you just, you get a sprained ankle, you get a sore hip, you get a sore shoulder in that position. And right now we're going to have a guy that's fresh in that position if we can continue to stay healthy like we are.
Different kind of challenge for Garrett this weekend. Different kind of challenge for Garrett this weekend.
It is. We went on the road for a road game at Rice, but we had 95% of the fans were ours. So, but this will be fun for Garrett. Garrett's played a lot of football. He just hadn't been the starter here long, and I feel like that we probably missed it a little bit, that there's so much more pressure on him starting than there was even coming in the national championship game, because he didn't have time to think about it. And then he had 6 months where people told him, we want you to be like Vince, we want you to be like Colt, you need to win all the games, we're expecting you to do what you did in high school. And that's a tremendous burden for any young guy, and we thought he was much better Saturday night than he was in the opener. And he's been very careful with the ball, but he's getting it to the right guys. And we feel like that each week he'll become a better leader, and this is a week where leaders have to step up. We've played really, really well on the road here, and I think it's because we have confident players. But they'll all have a different challenge this week, and I think it'll be fun to see. Every time you take another step, you learn a little bit more about your team.
Hey, Coach, thank you.
Thank you all.